Greetings, unsettled souls. Sam I.B. the Gangi during political commentary for the Media Speaks. We are now live on YouTube and Facebook. And as I told my Facebook listeners in a bit of a rant, make sure you hit share on the video, because I'm sure you YouTube people have noticed you're not seeing me on the sidebar anymore. Hit my Facebook page and you'll see what I was talking about there. Because I know you don't want me to lollygag on it forever. You want what you tuned in for, which is, of course, the Dunce Cap of the Month Award. I've got it down here. It's done. I will be mailing it out probably in a couple weeks when I do the next one. I've been mailing them out in twos because I don't have any help whatsoever at all with the show, and getting these mailed out can sometimes be a bit of a pain. All right, friends, Sony Pictures make huge faux pas and release their entire film instead of the trailer. Now, for those of you that are new to the show, and you may be wondering, what is the Dunce Cap of the Month Award show? It is the largest collection of absolute moronic idiots that you can ever see. Oftentimes there are leaders, but not always. And in my opinion, it makes everyone able to go to bed a little bit easier, knowing full well that there are people far dumber than you in the world. Someone is going to be in the doghouse at Sony Pictures, as they've just made a huge faux pas by uploading an entire film on YouTube instead of just its trailer. Sorry, boss. It's like a multi-million-dollar mistake here. The entertainment company were only supposed to reveal a snippet of their latest drama, Kelly the Killer, which I have never heard of, so there could be, there might be a reason for that. However, it ended up giving away the whole film for free. The clip entitled Kelly the Killer official red band trailer emerged onto the streaming site as an 89-minute upload of the crime drama. It featured everything from the opening titles to the credits and managed to clock in a staggering 11,000 views. That's 11,000 people that don't need to go and see it at the movie. Now, a movie house. Now, again, you have to remember, not all of those 11,000 were going to necessarily see the show anyway, but it's definitely a good one to open up the Dunce Cap of the Month Award show with. And then, of course, it was up for 6 hours, then taken down, probably cloned by 6 million people by then. No trailer has reappeared online, and only the remaining remnant of the film is a bizarre broken link. Some skeptics have claimed that it was a marketing ploy for the film, but others were not convinced. Who knows? But suffice to say, I don't think it was, since we haven't heard of it. And there was no hype afterwards. I mean, I have heard literally, to say nothing is to say I've heard more about it than I actually have. Prior to that story, I hadn't heard of it at all. All right, this is another one. Now, this is, do you notice you can have in our politically correct culture? Hello, Lindsay. Yes, Spinner. Hello. If I don't say hi to her, she thinks it's not like live. Hello. In our politically correct world, you can have somebody who might be somehow, you're awesome. She might be they might be somehow, who knows, maybe they have killed somebody, raped somebody, and they are from a protected class. Maybe it's Islam, or maybe it's anything that's not Christian. They can't do anything. And they can go out and kill somebody. And there'll be people that will insist, well, you know, they've had a hard life. Maybe they should be allowed to stay. I know they gutted somebody's grandmother like a fish and left her out back for the crows to eat, but they're probably a good person deep down inside. However, if you are not from the protected class, if you come from, let's say Ireland, then you are supposed to be a saint. And if at any point you're not, if at any point you do anything that really does deserve a slap on the wrist, you may get deported. Irish national living in Canada faces deportation for streaking stunt at the Blue Rays Mariners game, according to a report. Again, this made no sense to me at all. A naked man who stormed onto Safeco Field in Seattle during the Mariners game against the Toronto Blue Jays said on Saturday he may have gotten a bit more than he bargained for. The streaker was identified as an Irish citizen living in Vancouver, Canada, and could face deportation after his arrest. He rushed onto the field for an $80 bet. Now, when's the last time? Let's put this in perspective. There's supposed to be a GoFundMe page going up for him, but I wrote about this at the Conservative Daily Post too, so you can see it there. Let me ask you real quick. When's the last time you've ever heard of anyone getting deported for something as minor as that? Okay, now if they're an American citizen and they do something like that, are they going to necessarily go to prison or something else that would be on level with what deportation would be if you weren't a citizen? No. Then why in the world would you want to deport somebody for streaking on the field? It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever, and I wanted to put it on the Dunce Cap of the Month award show along with the last two. Listen to this. Yahoo's Iran's Ahmadinejad opines on the Trump-James spat. Now, I don't know about you, but Ahmadinejad is one of the single most evil people who have ever run a country. Not only is he a butcher to people who, and a supporter of terrorism, by that I mean butcher, a supporter of terrorism in favor of killing anybody who doesn't agree with them in any way, shape, matter, or form. Not only that, but the way that he has treated his own people during the time that he was in office and during the time that he served was nothing short of horrific. He was literally a sick, twisted madman. He's one of the people who were saying, they still do this, by the way, but had supported the whole chant "Death to America," which is what is chanted in the streets when their leaders, of which he was one, spoke. Now he's out suggesting that Donald Trump, because he doesn't necessarily agree with the whims of white privilege, of course, which we know doesn't exist, because he doesn't subscribe to that notion, then Ahmadinejad, the butcher, it's like Hitler, complaining about the way the U.S. treats people. For this Hitler in a headscarf to come out there, I guess I took that from Michael Savage, for this Hitler in a headscarf to come out there and so boldly say this kind of garbage. Really, I wanted to give him the Dunce Cap of the Month award, but when you see what actually won, then you'll see why I didn't. But the last two are ones that I had written for the Conservative Daily Post, because at the time I wrote them, I knew they were going to be on this show. So I'm going to read largely from what I had written, since they are my own words. Human Rights Watch wrote, authorities in the security apparatus of Iran's judiciary continue to target journalists online, media activists, and human rights defenders in an ongoing crackdown and blatant disregard of international and domestic legal standards. Their article is in the current 2018 horrors in Iran, yet that did not stop former Iranian leader Mohammad Ahmadinejad from the writing of President Donald Trump, and he wrote that basketball star, take two, from writing of President Donald Trump and basketball star LeBron James, quote, in my opinion, everyone, especially a president, should love all and not differentiate between them. Now, keep in mind that the differentiation that he's referring to here is the fact that LeBron James believes in the myth of white privilege. LeBron James believes that someone like Eric Brown, who was killed, Michael Brown, who was killed when he roughed up a minority store owner, an Indian man, took cigar wraps or cigarillos or something, and then rushed the cop who simply tried to ask him what he did to the store owner. He doesn't think that that man had any business being shot. In other words, the store owner was just supposed to shut up and allow himself to be robbed, and the police were supposed to sit back and allow him to not get his items back. Because Trump doesn't agree with that, that is somehow on par with the evils of Ahmadinejad. I wrote, really, would that include people like child rights activists? Saeed Shahzad? Did Ahmadinejad treat Saeed equally? Someone abused, I wrote, terribly in prison there. The hardline Islami former leader was giving his 2 cents about the feud between Mr. Trump and the basketball player / frequent complainer LeBron James. Still, who is he to lecture anyone about a sportsmanship or having a love for all people? Much like North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un, Ahmadinejad, who once drew parallels between Satan and former President George W. Bush, he's kind of close there, is a basketball fan. He admitted he loved NBA greats James and Michael Jordan, as well as former Denver Nuggets star Muhammad Abdul-Rauf. Why is the attraction, and what is the attraction between brutal world leaders and American basketball, I asked. In any event, this is a real person who has also claimed that there are no gays or lesbians in Iran. Zero, zip, zilch. None. Not a one. If this is true, then the world is left to either believe that sexual practices that has been around almost as long as mankind has skipped the Middle Eastern nation, or that things may be so strict there that they don't dare to show their heads, lest they be lobbed off with a blade or they are tossed from a skyscraper. For those of you who don't know, that's a very common punishment under Sharia Islam for homosexuality. In the way that Iran treats people, if the way that Iran treats people is of loving and not prone to differentiate between them, then why did Iran human rights abuses, as a Google search, call up about 4,580,000 results in 0.64 seconds on 8/7/2018 at 4:23 in the afternoon? The fact is that Ahmadinejad may have uttered the most hypocritical statement of his entire career, or maybe anyone else's. It may remind some history buffs that Adolf Hitler was renowned for being the first major world leader to care about the fair treatment of animals, as he butchered countless human beings with no qualms. Then again, maybe that is why radio host Michael Savage called such leaders as Ahmadinejad Hitler in a headscarf. Now, you may be wondering, dear God, what could possibly be stupider than that, Sam? Why didn't they get the Dunce Cap of the Month award? Because what did is so much worse. Are we ready? Let's get our music. The Dunce Cap of the Month award is here now. For those of you that may not know, I mail out the award that I'm about to show you and the hat that I'm about to show you. I've mailed them to the Pentagon. I've mailed them to Obama. I've mailed them to Al Gore, judges, police stations, individual people, if I can find them, which isn't always easy to do. Embassies now when other countries need to get it. It used to be that I couldn't afford to send the Dunce Cap of the Month to other countries because it costs too much to send. I've started sending it to the embassy, so now I can do that as well. But here we go. Dunce Cap of the Month award winner. Child punished for saying ma'am to a female teacher. Now, the youth are often looked, I wrote this for the Conservative Daily Post too. The youth are often looked down upon for not respecting others, particularly elders. However, as ABC 11 News has pointed out today, when a member of the younger generation does show that he or she has learned a few things about being polite, they may be punished for it in public school, in a private school as well. Taretha Wilson, that's how it's spelled, Taretha, is a parent. I didn't want you to think I was suddenly lisping out here. Taretha Wilson is a parent who has taught her 5th grader quite well. However, after referring to his teacher as ma'am, just as he and nearly all Southerners are taught to respectfully do, was punished. On Tuesday, 10-year-old Tamarian got off the bus, and Mrs. Wilson knew right away that something was wrong. The boy had been hospitalized about a month before when his mother had heard what had happened, and she was furious. He said that at the Northeast Carolina Preparatory School was to blame. I asked him what happened. He said he got into trouble for saying yes, ma'am, the boy's mother stated. Her son had a piece of paper with ma'am written on it, 4 times per side on both sides. He was told to save the paper signed, and told to have the paper signed, by a parent or guardian. But when the punishment was returned, the teacher said she wished she had something to throw at him. He had to look on his face of disappointment and shame, his father, MacArthur Bryant, lamented. He said that the words ma'am and sir are taught to the children as a sign of respect, something that was common when America used to make sense. And that wasn't my lifetime either. America never made sense in my life either. At the end of the day, to feel kind of responsible for that, he said, I do, knowing that I have been raising him and doing the best I can, and it's somehow not acceptable. What his dad also said. He's blaming himself, which almost nominates him for the Dunce Cap of the Month award too, but the school's getting it, obviously. The teacher was even more heartless than it would appear. since the lad was hospitalized last month for a seizure-related activity, which included memory loss and hallucinations. So maybe if he was trying to comply with their ridiculous political correctness, which has no place in a public school, he may have had trouble doing so, you dolt. Ms. Wilson even found out that the teacher had said if she had something, she would have thrown it at him, after he returned the punishment with another page of definitions about the word man. So we had to look up, like he seriously wrote something horrible or said something horrible. Now, I don't know how many of you know this, but one of the worst things you can do to a kid is to have him write these things over and over again. First of all, he doesn't have time to learn what he or she is supposed to be learning. Okay, none whatsoever. He's only focusing on this. And if he does go back to regular work after it, go ahead and write the front and back of pages over and over again. And then go ahead and try and learn a new math concept, even if you're an adult. It doesn't take a real genius to figure out this is pretty stupid. But the stupidity never ends because it's the Dunce Cop of the Month Award show. It wasn't right. It wasn't professional. As a teacher, it wasn't appropriate. And I asked her why she thought it was okay to do that. The educator admitted what she had done. The instructor confessed to saying that when she met with the principal about throwing something at the boy. Tamron's parents, but she claimed that she was only kidding and that the boy knew it. The parents wanted their child moved out of that classroom, and it was a request, thankfully, that was the principal allowed. While the couple are happy that something was done, they worry about the future of other kids. If it happened to my son, I'm pretty sure if not in a week or a day or a month or a year, it will occur to somebody else's child, warned Mr. Bryant. Meanwhile, the family posted the ma'am paper on their son was forced to write on Facebook, and it has received more than 1,000 comments and hundreds of shares and reactions. The work meant to punish was instead used to highlight the foolishness of a certain teacher. It has been confirmed that this was the boy's second year at the school and that the teacher has several years of experience in the classroom, a fact that seems shocking in light of what she did, at least to some people. An official from the Northeast Carolina Preparatory School, who wins the Dunce Cap of the Month award, which you're going to see in a minute, said only that this is a personal matter which has been handled appropriately by the K-7 principal. Just because the culture is being hijacked by leftist social justice warriors in the LGBT community isn't any reason for everyone to have to bow to it. Thankfully, the parents of one little boy knew this, and they didn't either. For those of you on YouTube, there's a picture of what he had to write. So that brings us to you guys getting to see the actual award that they're getting. Now, they're getting an award, like an actual paper award, and they're also getting this. A Dunce Cap, which I do every month. I have for years. Okay. Why didn't you have to write quit brainwashing with PC BS? Is what that wonderful cartooned individual that I made is drawing. If a person's born without a penis, they are male. Any questions? Oh, but you're not allowed to say that. Of course, political correctness. Now, here's what's funny. I'm not a prude. I'm not against two women having fun, as long as they let me watch. Okay, I'm not a prude. I'm not gay, but I'm a bi, but I don't care if other people are. My point is that even though I don't think gay people should be denied rights, I also don't think that the whims of political correctness need to be inflicted on our children and taught to them as if these opinions are fact. Because they are not. If you are born with a penis, you are a male. If you are born without a penis, you are not. It's a question of biology, not sexual orientation. So that's why they win this award, which says the Dunce Cap of the Month award goes without question to the utterly doltish staff at Northeast Carolina Preparatory School for punishing the well-mannered Tamarian Wilson. Being polite is more important than the PC whims of the day. You should not be allowed to potty train a dog, much less teach children. Wear the hat well, for you have earned it. For those of you on Facebook, I will be posting the actual image on the comment line because I don't have a printer, unfortunately, and I wasn't able to print it out. Those of you on YouTube have just saw it because I screen shared it. And that, friends, is the Dunce Cap of the Month award show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hitting share. And above all else, friends, Make sure you tune in the next time it's on, because it's just going to be a regular news, and we're going to be covering what might have happened with the potential Fukushima that we have with the tornadoes, because the same people that ignored the warnings in Japan when it pertained to the Fukushima nuclear disaster, and they were warned about it before it happened, are the same people that have ignored the same science that has suggested that there could be a problem when these hurricanes are happening. So friends, you're going to want to keep a close eye on that. If you are near the area, by all means, get out of it the moment it goes red. Do not trust what the media says. And beyond that, make sure you stock up on potassium iodide. It will protect your thyroid in the event that everything was to go red. You're also going to want to get bentonite clay, and do so pronto. Good night, friends. God bless. And to my people on YouTube, hey, let me know what you think of it. Word of the day, pumpkin.